Attack the enemy! Victory is ours!
Alright everybody, welcome back. Today is going to be a continuation of a series that I've meant to do but haven't really touched for a while, and that is the 30% research booster kind of series that I've done. Hopefully, eventually, I want to get to where I've got a 5%, or sorry, a 30% 5 battle research booster going with all of my top tier nations lineups for all my tanks. I'm not there with Japan yet, of course, and I'm not really there with Britain just yet, although I'm nearly there with Britain, so. As of right now, I've got a good one with the US, and then I've got a 6.3 lineup with the Soviets, so I'm not quite there yet, but it's something I hope to eventually have. So, this was actually recorded on 23 February of 2017, so it's been sitting in my backlog video folder for a little bit, and I finally kind of just got around to it. I don't have any first 10s ready to go at the moment, so I needed something to work on, and found this and thought, okay, I better get this video out, so here it is. So, as we start off here, this is when I was still working on my Leopard A1, 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 and I'm going to run that joke into the ground, so I guess deal with it. But, so you'll see that's what my research was throughout all 5 of these battles here. And we got in, captured the C point here, and then because of how bad the hot missile is at short range, I'm backing up as quickly as I can to get away far enough back to where I can actually employ the hot missile in some way, shape, or form. So we've got an enemy has been marked right up here, and we're trying to find him. And here we go. Now check this out. Missile goes through and hits the guy in the barrel and doesn't even knock his barrel out. So that's fun. And then I get killed by a TPT-449, so not the best of starts, but not the worst of starts either, and it does allow me to come back in my Leopard, so there's that. So initially here, with the Leopard, drop some artillery on C. We've got quite a few friendlies nearby, so I'm going to head that way and see if I can't help turn things around and take C back with the team here. Got a Leopard A1, A1 behind me. We're going to see if we can move in and get in on the C point again and take it back for us. So as we close back in on the point here, which the team is taking, doing a good job. I'm going to do what I can to get inside the point and take up a complementary position to my teammates who are capturing. And we're basically all over this one, so not too bad at all here. Get a capture with about 4 other teammates here, so that's good work for everyone. And then I'm going to move up somewhat towards their spawn, but in a defensive kind of position here, to see what I can see. Now, I know there's very highly likely to be somebody right in this spot, because that's where I always go, and sure enough, there's a ZSU-57. So I can't get a good shot on him without exposing myself, which would be instant death, because he's parked there with his turret ready to go, and I would have to pull up, get my gun on him, stop the gun from bouncing around, and then fire, which is never going to happen faster than he can put 8 shots into me. So, I'm trying to pull up around here and mark him with the machine guns, and I take a shot into the breach, of course, which turns out is a T-34-100 right on top of me, which is the same T-34-100 that I already shot and damaged in the with my hot missile that didn't do any damage to him. So there's nothing like somebody paying to win so hard that they gotta use extra vehicles. But that does it for the Leopard, which left me with enough spawn points for my Gepard, which is what I brought in next. So there's basically not a lot of people left over there at C, or rather there's enough left over at C for our team to deal with it, and the ZSU-57 gets taken out there by a friendly Leopard, so I'm going to push towards the B point and points beyond, such as A, and see if I can't start turning altering the ticket score and the ticket bleed to our advantage rather than to a stalemate, because as it is right now, we've got a slight deficit. So a friendly leopard is arriving at the B point, and he's going to have it captured pretty much long before I can get there and assist in the cap. So I'm continuing to head that direction just in case our leopard gets hit by somebody or taken out. But I'm basically not going to arrive at the B point in time, so I'm going to wave off here and head off towards more or less the middle of the map towards B, or rather in between B and A, and see if I can take up kind of a middle Overwatch sort of position here, which is what I end up doing. And I was basically looking at this hill right up here above, in front of me, so that I could get up on, have a pretty good look up at the sky, and then also be able to cover some of the surrounding territory on the ground a little bit, and it ends up being a pretty good spot. It's a bit boring, and I trim out quite a bit of time coming up here, but it does end up being a good spot, and it still would have been a very good spot with in another battle of this battle on this map, rather, with more enemies around. But anyway, an enemy Soviet P-47 is overhead, and I'm trying to get some shots at him, but he's just difficult to track with the moving snowflake effect here. Now, I take a hit there from somebody, but for whatever reason, they don't follow on after me. You can see it's a shot right in the back of the turret there. You can see the hole. But they didn't. It had to be somebody from A. But they didn't really follow on and try to come after me at all. I'm having a bit of trouble getting tracking on this P-47 here. Trying not to overheat my barrels too much. And of course, I do finally score a hit on him, and it's not a very good hit, and eventually overheat the barrels too much and then have to reload. But such as it is, I'm also using the ammo that I hit him with was probably not the high explosive frag. Unfortunately, it was probably the armor-piercing incendiary. But a Horton 229 comes along and finishes him off, and I get a kill assist out of it. So still a bit of research for the old Gepard. So I get back up into my more or less Overwatch position here with my Gepard, check a little bit of score on the team here, see what the enemy's got left. They've got a few more people left than we do, so it's kind of touch and go right now. And then I catch sight of an enemy tank driving through, and he very obligingly pulls right out into the open. Gives me a very nice shot for my Gepard, and I put a whole bunch of rounds through his ammo, detonate him, and get myself a kill. Now, I'm going to trim out about 4 minutes here of me just sweeping the sky, sweeping the ground, going back and forth, just keeping an eye out. So, 4 minutes later, towards the end of the battle, here comes a Yak-9T getting chased down by our teammates, and I actually track him and actually shot our Yak-9K, rather, and actually shot him down, but it was after the battle was over, so it didn't count. But anyway, that's battle number 1. Not the world's best score, but not terrible either, and 5,262 research towards the Leopard is not a terrible thing either, towards the Leopard A1, so there was the score results. Got the one ZSU-57, had a couple of assists, couple critical hits, bunch of hits on people, and there we are. Should have had a better hit with the Rocket Hot, but that's the way it goes with the Rocket Hot. So there you can see, 4 seconds after the battle ended, I managed to shoot down the Yak-9K with the Gepard, so that was kind of funny. Anyway, on to battle number 2, with a gigantic squatted up mouse right next to me. And I gotta say, I love getting Eastern Europe and domination. It is the best kind of get some research sort of map that you're gonna really run into, except maybe a break map. But break maps are so rare that it's tough to count on them for research points. So again, as I typed out here, as I've been doing for the last few months or so, just trying to tell the team, hey, when we get on this map, everybody go to the first capture point. I don't care what your eventual goals are, go to the first capture point, wait for everyone to get there, everybody capture it, everybody gets a bunch of spawn points that we can use for later respawns, And the team will be that much better off for it. Now, these guys all blew into the spawn point, so I couldn't wait for the rest of the team coming. But still, at least 4 of us got in and captured this one. Now, you can see there were 2 to 3 other teammates coming up behind us that could have also gotten in and gotten captured and gotten spawn points. So that's why I say just wait. You've got the time on this map. The tickets don't bleed down that quickly on Eastern Europe. You can wait for your team to get there, even if the other team is capturing their initial capture point first. You'll be better off for it in the long run because more of your team will have more points left for respawning in, and you won't have as many people just get killed out at first and have to leave the game because they can't get another vehicle in. Eventually, I'll get that word out to enough people that people will realize the value of it. I'm working on it. So, actually got a hit on somebody with the rocket hot from close range right here. That poor M60. And then that's actually an IS-3, which I only know because I've already watched this to preview the replay file so that I knew what I was commenting on. And there he is. So this hit somehow just doesn't do anything. Doesn't glance off and explodes, but somehow doesn't do any damage, so that's interesting. Although, to be fair, he really probably should have hurt me with his 14.5 machine gun on the top there, and he didn't. So, I guess there's that. Now, my second hit, at least, goes through and knocks somebody out in his crew, so... I've knocked him down to 3 crew members out of his 4, so I guess that was a good hit, although it wasn't a great one, but at least did some damage to him. So I really like this spot in the rocket hot, kind of parked behind the... So right as I was about to get probably a pretty good shot on him, he does get taken out by a leopard. So, unassist. Good enough. Now, the guy that's stopping our team from capping B is right behind that building there, and I can't actually see him. Although somebody else did actually finally notice him, take him out. And I have enough time and distance to dash forward from my little hidey spot here and get a second capture for more research points, because that's really what I'm working on here is... modification research for the Rocket Hot, and vehicle research towards the Leopard A1, 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 A1. So very good there. And I'm able to get back behind this little bit of cover here, which is in a beautiful spot to just watch down that main road coming off of their spawn and try to stop anybody who gets over. Now, you can't see into their spawn, so it's not camping on their spawn. It's just camping on the guys coming up towards B, or C, from C rather, to capture, so it's a pretty good spot. Now, we've got quite a few enemies being marked out there to the south. So I'm trying to get in a position where I can kind of put some rounds up there and guard. Now, this spot right here is such a narrow little spot that it's just about going to be impossible to be able to shoot, to time the missile, see somebody, get a missile off and guide it into them and hit them without the missile just being a total waste. So I moved around and decided I'm going to take out this pillar here. So I have got sight, and the explosion from the pillar actually damages a AAA parked next to it on the other side of that building. So that was an unintended consequence of that. I really was just trying to knock that pillar down so I had view beyond it. So that was kind of funny. I wished I'd had the chance to engage a plane coming in with my rocket hot here, but I had already shot down a, or I have at least, I don't know if it was before or after this video, but I have shot down a Sabre with my rocket hot missile. You can find that in the first quarter highlights video on my channel if you're curious to see what that looked like. So we've got a chieftain there marked up to the north of us on the other side of the river in the village. He'll come into play in a little bit. I just saw him on the mini-map there and then marked him to say that there's somebody up there somewhere, just to warn those guys, and there he is again marked, so now I get a better mark on him. Because we've got 2 guys over on the other side of the river, so I'm trying to let them know, hey guys, be aware, you've got somebody over there with you. Make sure you're paying attention to that, because he is up a hill and has a bit of an overwatch effect. So you can see our mouse taking hits there. Trying to keep an eye on where the mouse is taking hits from, and then our leopard leaves B, and immediately the enemy team is capping it, so... That was curious, although I know where he came from. He came in between the buildings down below, and... Was a little worried about those bombs at first, but they weren't really on top of us. You can see the enemies did at least get marked by the bombs, so... Our Leopard and our Kugelblitz up there are close enough on B to try and get a spot on whatever it is that's actually taking B from us. And then our poor Kugel gets taken out by the Object 906. So I'm trying to move into position here to spot whatever it is, and there he is. It's a ZSU 37, rather, not 57. Trying to get some shots on him to damage his crew through the cupola there, through the turret, and our Leopard takes him out, and then I'm able to move into position and help assist with the recapture of the B point, continue our domination of this battle. Got a pretty good ticket lead going on here. We're about to get back to increasing that once we take B here. So again, we've got some enemies real close on the other side of B, on the other side of this building here. So, trying to figure out exactly where they are and get a position on them where I can hit them with my rocket hot missiles here, while simultaneously trying to just keep an eye on where everybody else is engaging or being engaged. Can't exactly tell what he's shooting at over there, so I'm going to move down here and try to get into a little bit of an ambush position in case anything comes up closer. Kind of pressing up ahead a little bit here to see if I can't extend our early warning line and hopefully spot whatever is up here shooting. There's a shot that just came from right there, just behind the ridge line. Just trying to get a spot on him, and just as I'm about to back away, he appears. I get a missile up there that, of course, just doesn't really do much, just hits the dirt, but at least it throws dirt up in front of him. We'll hopefully block off his view, and then I'm going to reverse and get the heck out of Dodge here and head towards C. Try to escort the mouse and take a shot from an M47 right in the back, and that's it for the old Rocket Hot. So this was a different guy from the one I was shooting at, but doesn't really matter because that was that shot's going to kill a Rocket Hot pretty much every time. So on to the Arado 234 Charlie, which I have since spaded out, but wasn't spaded yet as of this battle. So that M47 that just killed me has been knocked out by the Leopard that was coming up behind me. And I did pretty well with the Arado 234 Charlie here in this little segment, I must say. Hoping that the team will mark me up some targets and I can deliver some good ordnance on them for them and help out our team with troublesome enemy tanks. In my first pass, there's a Centurion Mark 10. Dropped one set of bombs on him, kept the other bomb left back, and actually got him. Getting chased by what turns out to be a yak here. It's kind of hard to tell from that visual. And as our Leopard said, please check our right flank. So I'm trying to go around. Somehow I went right through that tree and didn't take serious damage, so I'm not exactly sure what happened there. But I am getting chased down by this yak, who then gets taken out by a Flak Panzer I Gepard, so thank goodness. Always make sure you thank your AAA when they take an enemy fighter off your tail. It's very important. So now I'm searching for this M551 that's over here on the right side. And I have the Yak 30 was kind enough to equalize the damage on my right wing as to match up with my left wing, so my plane is no longer dragging to either side, so that's nice of him. So the sun is not exactly on our side here as far as helping us. I'm trying to make some slow passes here and see what I can see. Check the map. Now that's obviously not marking the guy that I'm trying to find, the M551, because that's to the south, and he's supposed to be up to the north somewhere. So I'm just trying to kind of make passes around here and see if I can spot this guy, trying to come in with the sun at my back and see if I can't get a good look at him. Now, an enemy tank gets marked over here, which I believe was the dead Object 906. I strafed him just to make sure he was still alive, because I would have dropped the bomb on him if I had marked him and he was still there. But he was in fact knocked out, so that took me off my run with the sun at my back, so I've got to make another run into the sun here, which of course is not going to work very well. But at least slow my aircraft down to 0% throttle to try and take as much time over the battlefield here and try and spot where the heck this M551 is, but it's nearly impossible with all the glare off the water and the haze off the ground and the glare off my own aircraft, so get the throttles up again, get sped up, and try to make another run here. See if I can't find this guy. Well, we're taking C. The good thing is we're taking C, and it's not a critical thing that I get over there and bomb this guy, so I've kind of got the time to look for him and find him. So we just had someone get marked here, but it turns out it was that Object 906, and the mouse took him out. So still trying to locate this M551, and I really just don't have any idea where he is on the right side. He's around there somewhere, but all the team could tell me was there's a M551 on the right flank, and that's all I could really do was just look for him. And he just took out a mouse, and I didn't even see where that came from. So as I'm coming around here, what I'm going to do this time is do one of the moves I have figured out to kind of spot enemies on the ground, and that's get speed up and then pull straight up, and then just look behind you, and then as your plane slowly glides down to slowing down, you can kind of get a really good look at the ground and the terrain behind you and see if you can't figure out where people are. Now I finally notice him there. He's just moving just off the left side of my vertical stabilizer. As my team was shooting at him and knocking trees down, it drew my attention to him. So I'm trying to hammerhead here, but I'm going so slowly that I actually can't, and the plane levels off instead, rather than falling to the side and hammerheading over. The fairly aerodynamically clean Arado just levels itself back off, which was kind of funny. But that's alright, because it gave me more time to line up my bomb strike and get zoomed in, so zooming in, moving in, and there he is, right in the middle of that patch of trees there. And right about there, I finally noticed him, and get some good strafing shots on him, just in case my bomb doesn't hit him. Get a bomb off, and climb away, and as we track the bomb, it's close enough to an M551 that it doesn't matter if it was directly on him or not. And that takes him out. Right about the end of the battle finally, so not too bad. Took me a while to find him, but put a pretty good bomb shot onto two guys and got 2 kills with my 2 bomb drops there, so not bad at all. And that is how Battle 2 ends, with a tumbling Tu-14T tail section. It also ended with a first place. Now ironically, I got less research points for this battle than I did for the first one. So it was kind of funny, but it's alright. Somewhat productive for the AR-234C, and an alright battle for the Rocket Hot. There's the 30% booster results. Not the worst and not the greatest. First place, not too bad. 3 captures is always good. And we'll move on to Battle 3. Battle 3 was in the Sinai. And another domination map, which is good. I'm always happy to get domination maps when I've got a good research booster on, because I can usually make it to a capture point. There are a couple maps where the capture points are not that easy to get to, but this one's not too bad. The A point you can usually get to, particularly if you're in a fast vehicle. From either side of the spawn, it's not too hard to be the first one to get there. This is a little tricky. Coming from the other side of this map, it's a little tricky trying to get to A quickly, because you can get shot from up there to the right where I'm looking, but it wasn't too bad. So I'm going to drive up here and park myself in this little bunch of HESCO barriers in this revetment here, which is a great missile launching vehicle, particularly the roof-mounted ones like either the Rocket and Jagdpanzers or the IT-1. Not so much for the M551, because a lot of the M551 is kind of exposed. But other than that, it's not too bad. So I've got another Rocket and Jagdpanzer coming up to join me here, and he unfortunately kind of sticks himself out a little bit too far and presents a bit too much of a target. Which is too bad, because it would have kind of been nice to have a second backup missile launcher for when I'm reloading myself and could have fired, but unfortunately he got hit by a Chieftain Mark III that I couldn't see at first, and then just barely saw him right there backing up behind his rock. So he's behind that rock, and we'll see him a few times here as I wait and concentrate and focus on trying to get him to expose himself and hopefully give me a shot at him. Again, it's kind of a deal where my missile launch is going to be so slow that if he's not sitting still behind that gap in the rocks there, I'm not going to have a chance to hit him. So I try to track on B and see what's capping B, but you just can't see it from where I am at this specific spot here. But, as they're also taking A, swing it back over and try to keep an eye on A here. Now in a moment, he'll show himself from behind that rock. I know that's where he is because I saw him actually fire at the friendly rocketing Jagdpanzer there. So, I'm going to take a little look around myself here and try to keep a little bit of situational awareness on what's around me here, not just get zoomed in on this one guy, although I'm kind of focused on him because I really want to take him out. And there he is finally. I can see him. I can see that he is in fact a Chieftain Mark III. He's ripping away with his machine guns there. Get a shot off on him and steer it just in. Just get a hit on him, just enough to mark him. Nothing really good. No damage. And then, of course, he drives back in front and then backs up again, and I would have had a pretty darn good shot at him right here. But naturally, he doesn't sit still in that opening, which would have been nice because I'm not sure he knew where I was shooting at him from. And then when he actually does expose himself, he sees the missile coming enough to get behind there, and all I can do is break his track. But somebody put him on fire. So he's been set on fire. He's got a track that's broken. You can kind of see part of his turret there, but I couldn't really hit it. And I managed to curve another missile around the rock there, but all it did was just hit his track again. So don't have a very good shot at him. I'm keeping him marked, basically, and that's kind of it right now, unfortunately. I do kind of like the way that these screwball pitches I'm throwing here whip out to the right and then curve back to the left. Kind of funny. Unfortunately, he is getting kills back behind there, too. And all I can really do is, like, break his track, and that's it. So I'm going to move out of the position I'm in, see if I can't get somewhere where I can actually do something a little bit better. Track over towards A and see if I can maybe capture A, and he gets another kill. Like, we just can't... Nobody can see him to do anything to him. Unfortunately. Alright, there he is. Okay, so it wasn't... Never mind, that wasn't the Chieftain that was getting the kills. So, but anyway, he's finally been knocked out, so that Chieftain is now gone. So, I was confusing him with a different Chieftain. So I'm going to race down into capture here, and unfortunately Foo Fighter sort of blocked the path I was going to take, so I had to divert out around uncap. But I was able to get back in and get inside the capture with plenty of time to get a pretty decent score from this capture again, so not a problem at all. No trouble at all. Now you can see our two Leos over here are engaged with somebody very close on them. They just knocked out an M60, but there's somebody else very close, as you'll see. So they're blasting away at him up there, and then it's the Chieftain that was getting all the kills before is the guy right here. So I don't exactly know what happened here. I thought that the our Leo up there had done some sort of damage to him, but of course he didn't, and then by the time I can get my missile to stop whipping around, I take a shot from 120 mil that's going to kill me every time, and that's that. And then, of course, the Leo was able to take advantage of it, but oh well. Chieftain's down, at least. I did get a capture. I had enough points to come back at anything I wanted. Came back to the Leopard, because remember, at this point, I was still trying to grind for the Leopard A1, so... The objective was mostly to get modifications and vehicle research using the Rocket Hot, but then also get vehicle research as secondarily with the Leopard 1, because that gives me a bit of a vehicle boost towards the Leopard A1, so... That was the thinking behind starting in the Rocket Hot and then bringing in the Leopard 1 as much as I could as a secondary vehicle. Now this is an interesting bit right here. that M551 is definitely alive. And I watched this shot here, and then I immediately get killed, but I don't know what happened with my shot. It sure looked like it was going to hit that 551. I know he wasn't dead, so I don't know what happened there, but anyway, didn't get the effect on him. But I'm going to trim out 9 minutes of time here because that's it for my spawns. And we'll come back to us, unfortunately, not pulling off a victory in that battle. So not the best of the 5 battles here, but just the same. Did get an assist. Had a pretty good spot I was in. I just couldn't really make a good payday out of it, sadly. It was a pretty good spot. But yeah, that's it. Just got killed twice in that battle. But we get to come back to my favorite Eastern Europe linear domination map, and again we'll get everybody into the first capture point all together for the most part. So a bit of a repeat of the previous battle on this map, but not totally the same, as you'll see. We'll bring it to a stop as usual, and everybody else isn't quite as interested in stopping and sharing in the capture as I was, but as you can see, 3 of the guys were actually just bypassing the A point, or 4 rather were bypassing the A point anyway, so it didn't really matter. But we did get our capture, and a few of us will have some extra spawn points now. Not as many as we should have had. There's only 4. There should have been more of us, but not everybody came into the A point, so what can you do? We really should have had probably about 7 of us in the A point there, sharing that. There's only so much you can do if the team doesn't come there and some of the team doesn't wait, but I will keep trying to convince people of the benefits of that strategy there. And yeah, I am a bit of a creature of habit. I try to change things up occasionally, but when something works, I tend to go back to it. So back to the same spot, looking down the same road again. It's a pretty darn good ambush position with a high-powered missile. Plus, you get a little bit of distance down that road for the missile to actually settle on its flight path and hit the target you want and go straight and track true on its guidance. So do a little bit of trimming the fence hedges here with my machine gun, so I can hopefully see through to plink somebody with my missiles up there, up on that hill. No real mouses this time, mostly just leopards, so a bit of a more modern Bundeswehr feel to this battle. Bundeswehr. So back into position, watching out for quite a few of the enemies off, who I know are off to the right here. Like that heavy and that other heavy that have both been marked on the map. I do not want to engage a heavy from this close with the rocket hot, even if he comes up and I get a good side shot at him, because I just have zero confidence in the ability of the rocket hot to do what it's supposed to do right there, which is hit the target reliably straight on. But here comes a desert-painted chieftain up the road, and this is exactly what I'm trying to do in this spot right here, is get lined up and hammer somebody coming up that road. And I hit him pretty well. Now, I really love it when you shoot a fence down and the fence comes back up, because the fence can't figure out what you're trying to do. And when trying to knock that fence down so the missile doesn't hit it, generates so much dust and dirt that you can't actually see what your target is doing. Eventually, I get the whole thing finally knocked down. And then wasted a missile reactionary on that M60A1 that had already been killed, but would have been worse to get killed by him, I guess. The chieftain is almost certainly repairing himself anyway, so not too concerned about the chieftain just yet. Can see somebody back there firing off AAA. And there's the chieftain getting knocked out. I punched off a rocket to try and get down the road and hopefully shrapnel damage whatever that AAA was to be able to spot him for the team, but Now right now I'm trying to pull back far enough that I'm able to get a missile shot on this heavy tank that's coming around this corner, if it does in fact come around that corner. Whatever it is that was marked, I want to be able to have enough distance to get the missile to actually hit the target, because I'm only going to really have one chance. And it's been knocked out. It was the IS-4M right there, so IS-4M dealt with, no more heavy around the corner. I'm going to move up, take a little peek around this corner, see what I can see if I can't spot any more enemies to give them a little poke with the 800 millimeters of penetration hot missile I've got. And nothing doing, so push up behind the team is a good plan whenever you're in a support like vehicles such as the Rocket Hot. And there's an M47 up on the hill, as spotted. So we've called out an M18 back there spawn camping, and I would be happy to deal with such a spawn camper if I can just see where he was. Just barely missed that guy down there, crossing from right to left behind the fence. And if you watch on the map, he's going to get knocked down now. There he is. Up at the... he just got strafed out by our ME-262, so he's done. So here's a little quick pointer in the chat. If you want to call out an enemy for your team, don't just say that he's to the left or to the right, because that's relative to your own position. You use something that's irrelevant to what people are, like cardinal directions on the map. North is always up, west is always to the left on the map, south is to the bottom, and east is to the right. So call out those directions and use north, south, east, west, or use a geographical reference that tells everybody where he is. Like, for instance, on this map, they said that he was at the windmill. Well, there is more than one windmill, but there's one obvious windmill that everybody's going to be talking about. And that's the one back by our spawn, but there are more than one windmills on this map, so keep in mind things like that. And this chieftain up on the hill by the middle area knocks me out, and I'm going to come back and see if I can't spot him and drop some bombs on him. So as soon as I'm able to, I'm going to get into chat, let the team know where he is, just in case I'm not able to bomb him or I get distracted by an enemy fighter or something. And of course, using my own advice so as not to be a hypocrite, I call out that he's across the river north of B. And that I'm heading to bomb him. Now, I don't actually make it in to actually bomb him, but I was trying to. There he is, he's in sight. And by don't bomb him, I mean I didn't kill him. I do drop bombs on him, but unfortunately he was able to pull out of the way and just a hit. I start taking a lot of flak here, which I was at first thinking had to be from a ZSU-23 the way it's bursting. But it turns out it's not. I'm lined up just about getting ready to drop my bomb, and whack. Brrr. So it was actually the ME-163 that killed me. I'm not sure why it showed the Saber. I think he hit me as I was being killed, but at any rate, I come back in my own Gepard here to deal with the Saber that I just saw spotted in the post-death cam. And now watch this little sequence here. This is mildly annoying. Yeah, sure, I get triggered, whatever, but tell me this wouldn't make you mad if this happened to you. So I get strafed by a friendly plane here. That's completely a friendly plane that just went over and strafed me. Now, he didn't do any damage, but he definitely pointed out where I was. And that tells the chieftain across the river that he can look back at our spawn because something is there, because something was just getting shot at. Now, I don't have FPE, I'm set on fire, and I'm dead right out of the spawn. By a guy who wasn't even really camping our spawn, but he got a big pointer pointed right at me and said, hey, look this way. Something is there. So, that's that. So that is not how I like battles to end. And we're going to trim off 1.5 minutes here until the end of the battle, because that was it for my spawns, and I didn't even get to do anything. We did manage to win this one, so that was good. Pretty decent research score, could have been an awful lot better. But, at any rate, there's the score. No kills again, but I did get an assist and a bunch of hits. And did at least get a capture, so the capture really helps. You can really get a lot of extra spawns out of a single first capture there, which is why it's so good to share it with everyone else. And then we came up on Normandy. So this map, of course, is a battle on Normandy, which is both good and bad. It means we don't have to race for the domination captures or the conquest, but it also means I'm not able to get a quick, cheap cap here off the sea point over here. On the plus side, we don't have to worry about any British tanks, so no chieftains that we have to worry about trying to get a good front hit on the lower front plate. Or bouncing shots off their extremely well-sloped turret armor or upper front plate, which is pretty hard to get through for most shells and most shots. Anyway, I'm moving up to the hill here, the easiest hill to get to from the eastern southern spawn, and gonna sit and try to wait for somebody to pop up along this field and this hill over here and see if I can't catch an M551 or something moving up and pop them with a rocket. And somebody certainly saw me and took a pop shot at me there, so I'm gonna back the heck away and back right into part of the church, but then straighten her out and get her back around the church here, because whatever saw me well enough to get a shot at me that was pretty close. He was guessing, I think, behind the stone wall there, but I didn't see where any shot came from, so that was dangerous enough for me to get the heck out of the way. Now, friendly Rakuten Jagdpanzer II just kind of goes blasting out in the open there into the field, where I know if somebody's shooting at me, but switch on the binoculars, pick up somebody back there over the wall, so I'm going to see if I can't quick guide a missile by punching it over the wall and then switching in and trying to guide it in the third-person view, which didn't really work. It wasn't actually that far away, but it'd be nearly impossible to guide the missile from the viewpoint and the distance that I had there. Although I was able to get it over the fence like I was trying to, there's pretty much no way I was going to be able to actually guide that reliably on a target. It was worth a chance, but didn't really pay out. So here we've got an enemy actually coming through, and this is one of the best missile shot and guidances that I've had with the Rakuten Jagdpanzer II hot at all. That was as square of a hit on that M47 as I have had on anything with this tank, or with this anti-tank guided missile platform. Tank destroyer. So we just had an M551 totally destroy a friendly STB, and I can't tell where it came from. I can't tell if the guy M551 is the guy who shot from down there in the south, over here, or if the guy blown up and burning there was the M551. Well, not blown up and burning, but I can't tell where that shot came from the M551. I'm pretty sure it came from over here to the left, because that's which way the Rakuten Jagdpanzer II is facing. But I couldn't tell by the sound of the shot during the game, even with my surround headphones. YouTube will only be in stereo, but I play with surround sound on, and even then I couldn't tell exactly where the shot came from the F551, so I'm kind of just going to abandon the area instead of trying to find a hidden ambushing M551. So I'm going to head this way and get down to where I can look into the B point and hopefully blast any reinforcements that are coming into B. So zoomed in, scanning the B, trying to find whatever it is enemy team that's capturing, or potentially anything from the enemy team that might be coming to look at B or reinforce B. And switch to binoculars for a slightly better view. Can't see anybody coming in from the background back there from their spawn. And kind of zooming in down on this house here, which I figure is the most likely place to see someone, and sure enough, something backs up. And I yanked the steering. I tried to steer the missile around the edge of the corner of the building there, and I just yanked it to the right just a little bit too quickly, and unfortunately I hit the side of the building, knocked the tree down, and by the time all the smoke and dirt cleared, he was gone. And I'm pretty sure that it was that T-62 right there that just killed our Leopard. I'm pretty sure one of my teammates paid for me not making that shot that I probably should have made there. So that kind of sucks. But I'm going to sit for a minute and see if that T-62 exposes himself back out and I can get another shot at him, scan around for their spawn, see if anybody's coming in from their spawn. Nothing yet. And eventually, when nothing decides to show its face, I'm going to push in and see if I can't come up behind whatever was at B. Presumably the T-62, not Type 62. Now, ZSU-37 just got killed up here, which would have been really cool to spot from distance. And sure enough, it was that T-62, because now he just killed our Gepard that killed the ZSU-37. So I'm going to head this way, and then lo and behold, we've got an enemy T-32 shows up, and he's not in a very good spot for me because of the trees and stuff in between, so I definitely do not want to get my missile to hit a tree or anything. I'm able to hit him, set him on fire, and then, oh my god, there's another enemy tank comes right out, and all I can do basically at that point is just fire the machine gun as quickly as possible and mark them. So that didn't go too well. Really would have liked a nice crippling hit on the T-32 rather than just a fire in his final drive there, but oh well. So back into the Gepard we go. Mark those two guys. Now I had my map set up again so that as soon as I rejoined in the game I was able to just press M and left click my mouse and immediately mark the enemies, so there was no delay in finding it on the map and trying to warn my friendlies. We're kind of down pretty far on the team here, and we're a little bit too spread out to be a useful cohesive fighting force. But doing what I can to join up with friendlies here and try to track in behind them. See if we can't move in and hopefully ambush somebody at the middle of this little French town here. So I'm trying to move up a little bit parallel with the other Gepard off to my left there, and hopefully one of us runs into enemy and draws their attention. The other one will be able to move in and get some shots in them, and then we kind of are forced by the roads here to join back up with each other. But as I drive past where I encountered the... come up to where I encountered the Type 30, or the T-32 and the T-62, there's the T-62, and I'm trying to back up and get a shot at him, and unfortunately the other Gepard is right behind me, so I slam it forward again to try and get out of his way. And sadly, he gets killed there before I can get out of the way. Now, this was just unbelievable. One shot from a 57 mil Mosquito, and my tank's engine is knocked out, and I'm on fire, and I have no FP. So 2 battles in a row where I get hit very quickly before I can even really do anything. Set on fire in the engine, and that's it. It's just so disappointing, which is why I said unbelievable here. And then, of course, the tank just blows up. It didn't even burn for a while. Now, Destem there in the chat, if you ever actually see this video, I wasn't saying unbelievable about you being too close behind me or getting killed or whatever. It was all about me getting killed by the Mosquito. So I trimmed about 5 minutes away from the end there and then come back for the results. Not the best battle I had during the entire 5 here either, but anyway, there are the results. The team didn't do that well, really, altogether, honestly. But that's it. Those are the 5 battles for my top tier Germans with a 30% research booster. I hope you enjoyed it. There is a whole playlist that I'm putting together for these. Don't forget to check out the social media links in the description. And thank you guys for stopping by. We'll see you next time.